fantasy and horror do mix very well when it is, of course, well done. And that is exactly what Zweihander tries to do. I did the unboxing video for this starter kit set a while ago, and I was very mighty impressed with what it comes with. But I read the book, the 2 books that come inside here, and taking a look at what it has to offer. And is this worth the amount of money that you have to pay to get your hands on it? Well, welcome to the GMS Magazine RPG review videos. Zweihander has been written by Daniel Fox and James Introcaso. Both are heavyweights within the world of role-playing games and design, and their kudos is uncontested. Okay, that's as simple as that. So I was expecting an awful lot from this starter set. Now I'm going to give you a review after having read it. So I'm not going to go into the full components of this because I already did the unboxing video, and also I have here the player's guide, but I forgot the GM's guide at home, so I can tell you about it, but I will not be able to show you. So unbooking, that's where you will find it. So Zweihander, how does it read? Firstly, very well. Okay, apart from the fact that the components are really good and you get everything, and I mean everything you want and more from this box, it is a joy to read this. And for me, that is a massive thing, because I don't know if I'm ever gonna be able to play all the games that I read. At least I want to have a good time reading them. The player's guide is basically a character generator with a little bit of rules explanation for the players. So this is perfectly safe to give to any player that you're going to be playing with. And that is very good, because you just forget about it. You know, just give them to play and that's it. Everything is set up very well in terms of explaining a little bit about the world, what it does, what it doesn't, what it's meant to be all about. The only thing that I have to say, I did miss a little bit more of lore within the game. You know, I wanted to know a little bit more about what kind of world I'm living in. This is a starter set that teaches you how to play the game and what the game has to offer. It doesn't give you the game. You have to go deeper and buy more books for that. But then, considering that I believe this box is about $30, that makes perfect sense to me. This is not meant to be a finished, full-blown product. That's what the book is all about. So I missed a little bit more context, but only because I was eager to know more. That means that this is working. This is good. You will probably want a little bit more. And everything in here you will be able to use if you buy the game. So it's not as if you're buying something and then you're going to put aside and never see again. No, no, no. You will be able to use the contents from this box if you go later on for the game. But if you don't, you still get a wholesome experience that you will not regret you've had. So overall, very well designed from that point of view. There's a little bit of a chapter on how to play the game, what to expect. There are plenty of examples throughout the book, which is very good, and a quick explanation of the rules and what dice you're going to be playing with. Now, the rules are actually very simple. You're going to play a D100. You're going to add whatever skills or tools you have to help you get your score. So, for instance, you can play to fight. You get your, I don't know, 45% on swords, plus the sword that you're carrying, it's going to give you another 10%. So that's 65%. You're going to roll a d100. If you roll 65 or lower, that's it. You are succeeding. If you roll over that, you are not succeeding. It's just a D100 test. However, this is where things become a little bit cool, and I really like them. If you roll two identical numbers, so you roll an 11, or you roll a 22, or a 55, that's a crit. So I like it because the better you become at whatever it is you're doing, the more chances of getting a critical. However, if you roll over it, and they are so much, 77, 88, 99, that's a critical failure. And then you begin to accumulate perils, you begin to accumulate penalties that are going to hinder what your character can do or how it can do it later on. So yeah, you can attempt to do anything and you could have a critical success, but the less good you are at trying it, the more chances of messing up royally you are going to have as well. I like the sense of dramatism and cinematic potential that can have for the game itself. A 100 or a 1, regardless of your score skills, are always criticals. So again, that tiny little 2% of chance of getting that 100 or getting that 1, I really like it. To make matters even better, some abilities allow you to flip for success. And what that means is that you can invert the order of the dice. So say that, for instance, you have a flip for success in lockpicking. I'm just inventing it, okay? And you roll a 91. You say, well, I can flip. You will have a 19, so you succeed right away. That is very good, and you can apply it or not. It depends on whether you need it or not. That gives you that little bit of freedom. But the GM can also impose, because of weather condition, because of the wizard's ability, because of that demon power, a flip for failure. So at some point, if you roll an 18, suddenly you get an 81. So if you don't have an 81 or higher in your roll as your skills, you are going to face some penalties. And on top of that, you also have a chaos die, which is 86. And depending on what you roll, again, some effects are going to be applied. Let's not forget that this is a world where chaos plays a massive role. And chaos is chaotic, so it's going to be very uncontrollable. Okay, that is pretty much the rules. There isn't an awful lot more than that. You have a difficult rating, which you get in this table in here, with your modifier, for trivial to arduous tasks, and little else. Little else. Yes, of course, you have opposed tests, you have fighting tests, you have extended tests, all those things you're going to have. But that's just a matter of applying a variation on the rules, and I have already explained. So it doesn't take an awful lot to get to grips with how this game is going to work. Creating player characters is, again, quite wholesome, because there is no flawless character in this game. You're all going to have something that, maybe you've been touched by chaos, or you come from a really difficult background, or even if you come from a really aristocratic background, you're still going to be a shit at some level, because this is not a black and white world. This is all governed by shades of brown. So it's just magic is something you can do. You better not let anyone see it, because usually magic invites chaos, and chaos invites destruction and chaos, so it's not a good thing. The thing I like the most about the player character creation is that this thing can guide you through everything by rolling dice. So if you are inexperienced, or you just don't care because you're just going to play this, you roll your die and it's going to give you a good rounded character for everything. So the spells, what kind of generalist you are, what kind of profession you're going to have. And we have a fair number of professions: etherealist, barber surgeon, Bounty hunter, bravo, charlatan, chosen, gambler, investigator, jester, pugilist, reeve, sellsword, smuggler. Then you're going to get what your attributes are going to be. Are you going to have some sort of different archetypes to it? What bonuses you're going to be applying? What's your upbringing? Everything is here for you. Then we get different species. We go from humans, and they're quite varied. Actually, I quite like them. Awakened, Atlans, so the lizardy people, dwarves, elves, gnomes, grendels, halflings, ogres, Siabras, Ubasti, which is something I have to point out from the art direction point of view that I sort of thought, what? These, I mean, unless they can change the physiognomy, the Ubasti are these kind of cat-like creatures with these legs, these feet. How can you put them in there? In those boots or those shoes? Am I missing something here? Or do they have a variety of things that is not mentioned here? Because when I saw that, I thought, pain, putting your feet in those shoes. Ow, that has to hurt a lot. But anyway, that was it pretty much. And then you choose everything through rolling of dice. Trappings, which are services, which are everything that you can buy to get going with your character, and so on and so forth. So this actually made very easy to generate the character if you have no idea about the world, which is very good. And again, considering that this is a starter kit that very obviously just wants to give you a flavor of what you're going to get in the full game, it is very wholesome. The amount of info that you get is huge. I mean, this is just for melee weapons, and this is for range weapons. That is a lot. They could have easily just given you just what the characters in the adventure are going to have and leave the rest for when you buy the book. But no, they decided to give you a full catalog so you can go as you're playing the adventure and have a good time, which is great, absolutely great. You get a description of how to go through combat, what your combat conditions are going to be if you miss, how healing works, what kind of attack actions you can get. So in a nutshell, you're getting everything as a player that you need to understand exactly how the game is going to play. I mean, at the end of the day, this may be the starter guide, but let's not forget that it sits at 98 pages of content. That is a lot. A lot. Now, the GM, which I cannot show you because I don't have in here, shows everything else that you need to know. And what is that with how do the enemies work? How do magic actually works? How to plan for combat with demons? How to scale up or not your battles? But what it contains the most, and I was really impressed with, is the adventure. In this adventure, I am not going to give you any spoilers, but you're going to reach a town, and in that town, you're going to be hired to take care of a mystery. The one thing I like the most about the adventure is that it has, even though it's not a long adventure, but it has a very sandboxy approach, which nowadays I really appreciate. It doesn't matter where you go, you are always going to find some information or be able to talk with somebody that will give you a perspective on what's going on that is constructive for the players. So you're never going to get stuck. Everyone is going to point you at somebody else, somewhere else, something else. And you're going to get allies, in brackets allies, on both sides of the story, so you can go to and fro. the players will have to decide what side they want to go with, because factions are against the same thing or pro the same thing. So you're going to have to choose. As I was reading the adventure, at the beginning it was a little bit, oh, where am I? But as soon as everything clicked, it was just so easy to have it planned in my head. And the ending, I was reading this and I was really excited. I usually read before I go to bed. I was really excited. It really is a page turner. I was loving it. Definitely the kind of adventure that I want to run, the kind of adventure that gives you the buzz at the very end and has that massive ending, you know, that wow, leaves you wanting a lot more. And the great thing about that ending is that when it ends, it just opens the door for the characters to continue their adventures, because it doesn't matter what you do, you're going to create enemies, you're going to make allies. So you can keep going with the same players' characters. So that is fantastic. If we add to that this box contains every map you could possibly wish to have, every bit of character that, you know, NPCs or even PCs that you may want to use from the get-go, that you have all the cards for the injuries, for moderate or serious injuries that you're going to get, that you get maps for, well, what the heck, that you get your GM screen, maps for every location in the adventure. I'm not going to show you, this is the first one. I'm not going to show you anymore so I don't spoil anything. This is a 10 out of 10. Simple as that. Even if I wish it had a little bit more lore to it, but this is a 10. If you want to get started with horror fantasy, the system offers enough that you have something to play with, despite the fact that it's a D100 based, which is very good because it's familiar enough, but flexible enough and innovative enough to offer something for everyone. The adventure is great, the characters are just amazing, and the whole thing is being incredibly well produced. If on top of that we add as well that, you know, they keep getting more and more information and more books, and hopefully they will keep developing this. This is great. I really cannot fault it. I love it. Really, really love it. So I would love to hear what you have to say about this. I would definitely buy it and play this time and time again. Not as an adventure, but you know what I mean. Time and time again, because, and if you haven't got this yet, do, because everything in here is going to be useful for later on in future games. So I just honestly, objectively cannot fault it. I love this, but I would love to hear your opinion. So please let me know. Thank you very much indeed for being there. And until the next time, I will talk to you very soon. Take care.